Life is hard when you live it the easy way. This is an interesting statement because it sounds counterintuitive. And I say it sounds counterintuitive because usually when people say that statement, they usually mean that behind every great success that you would like to achieve, there's usually a seemingly difficult wall to climb. I say seemingly difficult because I think it's a matter of perspective. I personally see the world and the people in it when it comes to achieving their goal in three groups. The group one are the people that they know what they need to do to achieve their goals, but they choose to do nothing. So there's the do nothing group. And then there's the second group of people, they know what they need to achieve their goals, and they think those things are difficult, but they still choose to do the difficult task. That's group two. And then there's the group three, which I think this is the group that I'm in. It's the delusional group. Personally, people in this group, they know what they need to do to achieve their goals, and they just think it's what needs to be done. It's not categorized into it's a difficult thing to do or it's an easy thing to do. When they think about what they need to do, they just say, well, that's what needs to be done. Now I have jumped a massive step. The problem with a lot of people is not necessarily that they know the goal that they would like to achieve, but that they don't know how. They don't know what they need to do to achieve their goals. And I've jumped that step before coming into the grouping. So I will take a step back and talk about how do you actually know what you need to do to achieve your goals. From my perspective, there are two ways to do it. You can figure it out internally. You read a lot of books, which is a little bit external as well, but you apply a lot of logical thinking processes when you think about your goals, and you do enough research to figure out how people might have done it in the past or what are the routes that have been set up to be able to do it. So you by yourself, by building your logical thinking process, you figure out how. The second way is to simply ask someone else, maybe someone that have done it before, a mentor, an advisor, anyone that can put you through so that they can tell you, well, if that's the goalpost that you're trying to get to, from my experience in life, this is how you can do it. So these two things, I think it's important. And the whole summary is that whether it's yourself or someone else doing it, there is absolutely the need for a logical thinking process in figuring out how to get to your destination. This is very important because it is possible to get it wrong, even when you think you're doing the right thing. I'll use an example. Say you're trying to get a job. You just finished school and the goal that you set for yourself is to try to get a job. There's so many questions that you need to answer before you move forward with that. Well, because you can get a job. You can simply get a job with McDonald's or something like this. Or you can get a job in an office where there's not that much room to grow and to fulfill the short-term need of a job. But then the long-term perspective of building a career might have been jeopardized or set back a little bit by taking the wrong short-term move. This is where the logical thinking is absolutely necessary, because you need to table it all out and make sure that the decision you make today considers the long-term effects and what you want to achieve in the long term. So we know that this step that I've jumped, the step of deciding what is actually the best way or how do I get to my set goal, it is not trivial, but that's not the focus of today's episode. The only thing I can say about it now is that, believe me, you really have to be careful in making a logical decision or a strategic decision about how to get to your destination. Now you have made that decision and you now come back to the how and what perspective to see it from. The only thing I can talk about the first group, which is the do nothing group, the only thing I can say is do not be a part of the do nothing group. For yourself, for everyone around you, please and please make sure you're not a part of the do nothing group. Because when you do nothing, nothing happens. And when nothing happens, you will never achieve your goals. not even by mistake, because you have to do something. So do not be a part of the do nothing group. Now there are two groups left. There's the group that perceive the task and activities required as difficult, but they still do it anyways. And there's the group that is as delusional as I am, that it doesn't matter that difficult or easy, there's nothing like that. It's simply what needs to be done. Personally, I don't know how I ended up in the what needs to be done group. I think it's just been a part of my life since I was a child. It wasn't a conscious decision. In fact, it took several conversations with people and friends and mentors to realize that I had it a little bit good in life, that I would simply just be able to do things that needs to be done without thinking whether it's difficult or easy or whatever. It doesn't matter, even when there are very long steps to take. So I would do activities that would take me 2 years. It doesn't matter if it gets me to the goal, if it fits where I'm trying to get to. I would just do it because it's what needs to be done. And that's just it for me. So that delusional group, I realized that some of us are lucky and things just come to us that way. And for some people, it takes an effort to get there. But how can you do it? Right? How can you build that confidence of whatever needs to be done, we just do, it doesn't matter? How can you build that mindset? It comes with confidence and discipline. Confidence and discipline. This is a very important thing. So now, if you are in the doer group and you have made the right logical choice to understand how to get to your goal, it's okay if you think it's difficult. The sweet thing about it is when something seems difficult, but you're in the doer group and you're disciplined enough to do things with good quality and you stay true to yourself that whatever you want, you will get. If you're disciplined enough, you will keep to it and you will build that track record that gives you the confidence. As I said, confidence and discipline. This is how they interplay. You have the discipline to stay true on the track, even when it's difficult, even when it's sad, even when you're in a bad mood. You stay true on the track to follow the process that you've set yourself to achieve your goal. And you just maintained that disciplined mindset. When you achieve the first goal and the next one, over time, you start to see that when you do what you simply think you need to do, you achieve what you want to achieve and it builds the confidence. Now you have the track record. And it's just now a question of time. I have seen people move from it's a difficult task and I have to do it, and they move from there to it's just what needs to be done as well. But it's not really delusional, right? Because if you've done it over and over again and it's worked a lot of time, it's just disproof. It's just the reality of life. I remember when I was in high school, I used to have a friend that wanted to spend more time than the others studying. And in the first instance, it was difficult, no doubt. Yeah, he thought that it was difficult. So he would spend a lot of time. When everyone else is playing football or something, he would just stay there and study and study. But the preparation that he made at that stage built two things in him. Yes, he achieved his goal. He did better and better from one term to the other. And I think he was top 3 at the time that we were graduating. By the time he got to university, he finished with the first class, it was much easier for him. But two things happened. The first thing is that he built the habit to just be disciplined enough to do whatever he needs to do to achieve whatever goal he wants to achieve. But the second thing is that every task and every activity that we do, even when they seem unrelated, they still have impacts on each other. So all the study that he did in the first year of high school because he wanted to, it's possible for him to study less in the future. So suddenly the difficult task of studying for several hours became an easy task few years down the line because it actually powered on each other. And then the habit had already become a part of him. So every difficult mountain, as soon as you have maintained a disciplined structure in climbing that mountain, it becomes easy. And you will do that long enough with so many things that you will get into group 3. And that's why I wanted to make today's episode. To say that as long as you are a doer, it gets easier. Such that everything that you thought was difficult, everything that you would have procrastinated, everything that you would have prevented yourself from doing, they no longer look like difficult tasks once you have that track record. They become easy tasks. And now think about the statement I made at the beginning. Life is harder when you live it the easy way. And I said, seemingly difficult task, counterintuitive statement. If those difficult tasks are no longer difficult from your perspective, don't you think life is just easy? That's how I live my life. Personally, I love a chilled life. The only thing that I have to keep with myself, I already have the confidence required. I have the mindset that everything is doable. There's nothing too difficult or too easy. It's just what needs to be done. And I 100% believe in my ability for logical thinking, but I also take a lot of advice from people that I believe can help. It doesn't have to be someone more intelligent or smarter. It can be anyone, because people can have input even from the most unexpected places. And I have the discipline to follow through. So when I say that I like a chilled life and life seems easy, it's not because I don't do the things that some other people might perceive as difficult. It's simply because after a while, with all these 4 attributes, it's just easy. So yes, life does not have to be difficult. It can be very easy, but you need to go through these processes. You need to develop these attributes in yourself. And then if life does not seem easy, if you don't start winning in life, I'm saying it today on this pod, I'm willing to contribute some amount of money for having lied to you. That's it for today's episode. Thank you guys. If you enjoyed what you have heard today, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and also share with the people that you care about. Cheers.